All right, what's good? This is Redd Lettaz, representing Chicago, Maywood to the fullest, and you are watching the illest lines.
Dude, I do want to tell you, first of all, man, I first got introduced to your music, I would say, shoot, with Underrate Me.
Wow,
Yeah,
2011.
yeah, man. Yeah, and the funniest thing is my son, he's the one who actually introduced me, which there's a funny story I gotta tell you about him real quick. But
Uh-huh.
he introduced me to you after he was like, he pretty much introduced me to Bizzle too.
Uh-huh.
And like he was just starting to find all that stuff. And it was, making me happy because I'm like, okay, he found a connection between what we trying to teach him, with God and everything, and something that he loves because he sings as well and he raps and all that stuff. And so when he found you, he was like, Dad, you got to take a listen to this guy, man. He's crazy. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, okay, cool, cool. And when I listened to it, man, the one thing I have to say that I pinpointed that was probably, I would say, not just one of the illest things that I've heard, but in regards to being original.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you've been told ain't nobody like you out there, man.
Uh-huh.
Period. Not
I've
just
heard
not with just the lines and everything, but your intricate harmonies that you do. Because I remember a while back you had stated that you're not a singer, but you rap, but you got
right.
some pipes, dude. You can sing. So
How can I put it? I can sing, but I'm
right,
not a vocalist.
right,
Like,
right,
there's people that do it, and then there's people that do it.
right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying? I do enough to get me by, to float me. Like,
right.
if I had a vocalist on hand, I'd be
Uh-huh.
like, hey, sing this.
Right.
It's even funny because I just put out a project streaming yesterday called Amore Red.
Yes, man.
Just kind of
Yes.
going into my R&B chops a little bit, production wise. And I got a guy by the name of his name is Amore Jones.
Yeah.
And the guy's vocal is just smooth, buttery,
Okay, he's dope.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and he writes. His pen game is
Yeah.
crazy. So I was able to just kind of vicariously be a vocalist through him.
Right.
But at the end, the last song is actually me
Yeah.
actually carrying the whole song, singing it. Which I guess a lot of singers kind of feel this way about themselves. They don't really like their voice.
Right.
Some of
Present
them do.
company included.
Right. I don't. It's like I know I can sing, but I don't
Yeah.
like my voice in comparison to all the
Right.
vocalists out there that's really doing it. Like I can't do runs as much as I used to in high school. I can't.
Right. Right.
But harmonies don't never left me because as a producer, that's all you hear is how to stack this sound with that
Right.
sound. So
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
but it comes out though, man. Like for real, because I have to admit, there's not too many rappers that can sing. My homie Michael White Jr. Man,
right.
he's
Same.
one of them. Yeah, man, one of the baddest voices I've ever heard. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then on top of it, got bars. So I'm like, okay, well, cool. It's nice to be able to be in the company of somebody that can do more than just one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what makes that cool. But as far as you're concerned, man, ever since Underrate Me, I've been doing my best to keep my ear to the Redd Lettaz pipeline, man. And one of the things that I have to say that you've been consistent with are these. I can't even say that they're nonchalant. I feel like you're pretty purposeful in your skits that you put
Mhm.
in there. You know what I mean? Like from the one that you had on 3 is one of my favorite songs, man. And I love
Mhm.
how you did everything. We'll get to that too, but
Right.
love how you put everything together. But even with that little skit, it's like, man, like you never cease to, I don't want to say amaze me, but that's probably the best way I could put it, when it
Mm.
comes to that.
Sure.
Because I feel like, it's one thing to have, a few bars here and there, but it's another thing to be able to tell a story.
Right.
And that's one of the things I have to admit that you've been real consistent with, is being able to tell a story.
Mm.
And so my question on that is, where did you first get started in music to the point where it made you what you feel you are today?
Man. Um, that's a good question. Well, I mean, I started tinkering with music probably around 9, 10,
Oh,
that
okay.
age.
Right.
Um, Hip hop particularly probably around 10, 11 is when I
Hmm.
started really rapping.
Right.
But I was singing ever since I was like 7 or 8 or whatever, to my knowledge, to what, let my mama tell the story.
Right.
And, I was into like Stevie Wonder, real heavy on Stevie Wonder vibes. But hip hop kind of came around when this is going to age me. But there was a group called ABC, Another Bad Creation.
Oh yeah.
And then Crisscross came along, and I was like, and they were, they're a little older than me, but they were, around my age too. So I was like, I can do that.
Right.
So, and that's what kind of started the journey. Then I was one of those kids that grew up on the TV, kind of raised me.
Right.
We had this thing in Chicago called The Box, music television.
I remember that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So wherever you are, so like it was that and cartoons all day for me. Yeah. So, when you consume that much music, you just start, building off of, making up your own stuff. First, you're being funny and you're spoofing stuff and whatever. After a while, you're like, oh, that's kind of dope. I could really do something like that or whatever. Right. And I played around with that for a while. And that's pretty much what got me kind of started. As far as the storytelling aspect of things, my imagination is a lot.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
It's a lot up here. And so it's like I can't not tell a story. I don't know how to not do it.
Right.
And all of the story intricacies, I'm just messing up words today. Certain things, it's just they play in my head a certain way. So now as an artist, you have that trying to get it from out of your head out, period, however you can, so that's that maybe hopefully that answers your question.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So if Stevie Wonder, if you could say that Stevie Wonder is one of your influences as far as like, vocally or musically as a whole, then
musically, period. Yeah.
Right. So then who would be the ones that you would consider your influences as far as hip hop goes? I mean, I know you mentioned ABC and all that as far as like who you listened to at the time, but as far as like some of the ones that made you be like, you know what, let me try this, or I could do that. Like you said a little while ago, you could do that. What were the ones that like really made that impact on you?
All right, the one that really like probably the strongest impact on me was Redman.
Yeah,
Reggie Noble.
Right.
And he was such a character. He was almost like the rap version of the Joker to me.
That's a good way to put it.
Because he was he would be comical, but it would be a dark side to it. But then, and then he introduced me to punchlines. Right. Him and Chino XL.
Yeah.
Okay. Chino XL entered, like I was in 7th grade when Here to Save You All came out.
It's funny. That's the same. I'm sorry. That's the same exact one that Bumps mentioned. The same exact line. I mean, yeah.
That album, Here to Save You All came out, and if Redman introduced me to like the comical side of punchlines and how to slip lines in there and do the similes, the something like something.
Yeah.
Chino went way over the top with it. Like it was almost like, did he just say he was before Eminem? Before Eminem came around, Eminem kind of like brought me into the wordplay, the patterns.
Gotcha.
Eminem was rhyming like 4 or 5 words at a time at the end of every line. That's what he got me into, that Eminem. Wow. And Elzai then spinning into the Detroit sound and the Detroit MCs. They're really big on multi-syllables. Right. Royce the 5'9", them type of people.
Oh yeah.
But before them, it was Redman, Chino, and then high school I got a little bit into cannabis. And he was doing his punchlines was on some scientific miracle. Right. He'll say crazy stuff like, I'll punch you in the chest so hard your shoulders to touch. It's like
right.
Oh,
and you picture it in your head.
Right in your mind. You're like, oh, that's how hard that punch got to be. Right. So that's what started kind of opening them doorways. Like, I don't think I got good as an MC till like high school.
Wow, really? Okay.
I mean, I was fiddling around as a kid,
Right.
but like you don't know what you're really doing as a kid. You just mimicking and copying and just
exactly.
I'm trying to be cool and
right,
my
exactly.
name is Courtney and I can rap and like whatever.
right.
But when I got to high school and and coming up from Chicago, my influences were a little different. So like coming up from Chicago, I was dealing with like your Twisters, your Do or Dies, your Crucial Conflicts, and all of that.
Wow,
so
Crucial Conflict, man.
Yeah, so like my rap style was in the beginning. It was whatever. You're doing all of that.
Yeah.
But in high school, I moved to Florida. I moved to.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I moved to Fort Lauderdale. So
oh, okay.
I moved to Fort Lauderdale. I was kind of like a fish out of water because like I'm out south, but it's like a melting pot of kids here.
Oh, okay.
You had Trini kids and your Jamaican kids. You had your New Yorkers.
Yeah.
That came, and they were just super like. You can tell they were from New York. They just walked around baggy, cargo. And they who I tend to hang out with because they were the closest to like city life, compared to Chicago. So hanging with them hard enough is when I got introduced to your Nas's and J's and all that other stuff.
Oh, okay.
I was already messing with, and meth. I got a little more into meth. I already was a Redd fan.
Right.
So I don't know. It all kind of melted into each other in high school.
Right.
And plus battles came up in high school. So you
so you used to battle too, huh?
Oh yeah, please.
And when I say two, I don't mean me. I'm just saying like two. No,
in addition,
I do no battles.
In addition,
yeah.
Oh yeah. I think when I hit my 1920, when I came back to Chicago, battling was like my thing. At the time, my name was Tim Childish.
Oh, okay.
And I used to wear remember how music Soul Child used to have the head wrap with the thing in the, I used to wear that with a 10 card.
Oh, okay.
And I'd give it to whoever wanted it. I was just because to me it was like you got to be the best rapper in the world.
Right.
Don't know why. That's every MC's thing.
Right. I mean, but that's been the culture ever since Slick Rick, Dana Dane, and even before that, because that's something that they used to do. You know what I mean? So that's part of that culture. So it's almost like it's a rite of passage. If you're going to be in it, then you gotta be able to do it. Yeah.
You gotta go.
I would never do it.
I was all for it. I did MC battles out here in Chicago. They were thrown by the local radio station, Power 92.
Oh, okay.
And I was offing people there. I was offing people.
Who's next?
It was right. It was horrible. But the more and more I got into the battle scene, I never really fully submerged to the point where where it is now, where it's a battle league, and people rapping a cappella and da-da-da-da-da, and they spend months on the bars, and then they come. Nah, I was in it when they throw you a beat, and it was freestyle. It was 8 Mile, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's when I was battling.
It wasn't smack.
Right. It wasn't that. It wasn't those highly intricate written.
Right.
I took months of studying my opponent. Now I got all this, which makes me wonder how I do in that space sometimes. Like if I had all of that to
all
go with, I wonder if I'd make it, but I think I'm a little too old for it now. I don't think my skin tight enough for it. Nothing for it. As soon as you say something about my dead wife or my daughters or something, I'm just gonna swing on you.
Yeah, all bets off. Yeah, I don't know. How do it. They'll be friends right afterwards. I'm like, no.
Right. Like, take your grandma.
Like, what?
Break the dentures.
No, she need the dentures.
What? Really? You gonna break my grandma? We not dapping after this. What are you on?
Exactly. Yeah. We ain't cool.
Like, my dude, you sat and you thought about that? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. So then what made you get into the point where you were like, you know what, I want to do this as an artist? Like, I mean, it's one thing to be in it and submerged in it at a certain point in your life where you just like it. But there's another point where you get to, it's like, you know what, like I think I could roll with, with the rest of these people out here, or at least try, So what was your point where you went into it in that fashion?
That had to hit me like maybe 14, 15.
Oh, okay.
I was 14 or 15, living out in Florida. I'm in high school.
Right.
And I picked up producing like around 16, 17.
Oh, okay.
There was this church, I'll call it a church for argument's sake. It was more like a cult, but but
say no more.
But while I was there, there was a dude that was there. Shout out to a dude named Darren. His name was Darren. His cousin is Mario Winans.
Oh, okay.
But he played, and he used to see me, always come around and just see them on the keyboards and whatever.
Right.
So they had like a Ensoniq Mr. 76. It's an old board. Ensoniq don't even make boards no more. Wow. That's how old that is.
Dang.
And he was like, you want to learn how to? And I'm like, sure. So he taught me how to program it, and that was it. I started programming on the Mr. 76, and that was just my thing. Like I would go to the church when church wasn't having church, because somebody was always there, and I would just go up to the Mr. 76, and I would just make beats or whatever, save them on a little floppy disk.
Oh man, a floppy.
Yeah, flop, and that not the big floppy.
I was just gonna ask the big floppy.
Not that. Nah. I'm not that old.
Smaller floppy.
The smaller floppy, little disc about that big.
Right.
And that's what got me into. So now that I'm making beats, and which I was horrible at first, but I got better. Right. But as I was making beats or whatever, I'm like, if I'm making beats, I might as well go ahead and I rap. Might as well go ahead and just make songs. And that's when I started getting into the song creating portion of it.
Wow, definitely.
But that's what got me started in that direction, that like I could be an artist. And then what it really started doing was I started realizing how freeing it was to do. Like how what's the word? Therapeutic it was. And that's what kind of kept me in it. Right. Because it's like I feel a certain way, write a song about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
About it, here you go.
Right. Want to choke my parents? Write a song about it. Only I'll change the parents to radishes. So that way they don't know that they're the radishes. And I'll talk about plucking radishes Mario on Super Mario 2 when you do like as an artist, you can make anything. It's your universe. You can build whatever you want around whatever you want. And it was freeing for me.
Right. Kind of what you were talking about a little bit ago in regards to, you said that that was your first try at Christian rap. I remember before today you had mentioned about not being in CHH. Now, for me, the way that you were introduced to me was you were a part of something that was a part of CHH. Yeah. So what point would you say that changed for you then, or do you feel like it never really changed? It was never really there. Like how would you consider yourself from back then as opposed to now?
Okay. Let's really.
All right.
In 2005 or 6, I put out my first project, Christ-Like Seriously. At that point, I was team CHH. I was this overzealous, and I was just recently, like, I really got saved. Like, now I'm going to church because my parents is making me. Now,
right, exactly.
Jesus literally was like, all right, I'm real. Let me show you. And
right.
And you immediately get saved, and you're real green in the faith. you start trying to pull everything you got to the faith. So like I just automatically assumed, okay, I do music. I'm a Christian now. I should be doing Christian music. You know what I'm saying? So I came out with Christ Like seriously. It was received like that.
Right.
Part of it was because it was a little different. You know, I'm up here sounding like Keith Murray and Redd, man. Talking about Bible scriptures.
Right,
it's like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Nobody's done that yet. And this is when cross movement was the Run DMC of our time.
Got you. Yeah.
But Lecrae was on the rise. He was like, Reach was just starting to kind of bubble. Right. So even the sound and the style was beginning to shift.
Right.
But I went in there green and I'm finna do this for the Lord and we finna go out there. We finna check. I sounded like a young Kanye. We about to go get this world and the minds in the world will come over here and we gonna Christians unite. Right. And how wrong was I? Because I come to find out there's so much politics and Christian rap is a gated community. And unless they like you enough to come into this gated community, they kind of keep you out of the community or they keep you hands reach in case they may need you for something later, but never exactly let you in the circle. When I first started, I got bombarded with questions like, are you Calvinist?
For real?
I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Right. So
I love Jesus. No. I love Jesus though.
Right.
But like just the whole that debate went on. And so you had your reform circles that wouldn't rock with me because I wasn't reformed. But I wasn't quite what they call Arminianism or whatever. I'm not quite that either because and then I'm not Baptist. I'm non-denominational.
Right, exactly.
So like now all these cliques are formed that you have to kind of be a part of in order to be welcomed into forget music, just to be welcomed into Christianity. And it's like, wait a minute. I thought we all served the same God.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Forget all these different doctrines and directions. Like, don't we all serve the same thing? Let's just come together. No.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't work that way. But I kept fighting the fight. I was like, yeah. And then 2011 came and my wife passed away.
Right.
And I'm a single dad of twins and etc. Right. I'm starting this, and around that time, I started the Neo Psalms. It was mainly to I was trying to keep myself busy.
Right.
So that I couldn't grieve, really. That's what I was really doing. Right. But in my mind, I was like, all right, they're not going to let me in their circles. I'm not quite reach. I'm not quite, even though I was offered to go to, when I did Christ Reigns with Bizzle a little later, he offered for me to come to God over money.
Oh, okay.
At that time, I had a deal on the table that crumbled, but it was a deal on the table that I already accepted. So I accepted the deal, and then Bizzle, I think after I did the Put On song with Bumps, he was like, so what you doing? And I was like, yeah, I got offered this over here. And he knows who I'm talking about too, because they offered him something.
Oh, okay.
But it fell through with that.
Right.
So with that going on, I was like, I'm just gonna start my own thing. And that's when Neo Psalms came along, and I had Jay Griff, and I had Bridge B. Now he's Mr. Biscuit. He's in the battle and
right.
Just Thoughts. A dude named Danny Scripture. We were just a bunch of MCs that I was feeling, and friends, or at least I thought. And started doing all this production. Started making way. Oh, and Act Davis. How can I forget Act Davis?
Right. And, I heard that name before too.
Yeah, he was. Oh yeah, he's like Christian rap's Black Thought, and we was a conglomerate, And, you know, when Act came down to Georgia for like a few months to stay with me. And, you know, I was trying to build something, but, you know, like I was building without a foundation really. Gotcha. And kind of using the internet to kind of like, hey, we here. But we wasn't really rooted into nothing, and it all kind of fell apart. And when it did fall apart, God was kind of like, yeah, so who told you to be a Christian rapper anyway?
Wow.
This is 2012.
Wow.
And I'm like, what you mean? I'm a Christian and I rap and I'm supposed to
right. Put the two together.
Right. He's like, yeah, but who told you I wanted you to do it like they wanted?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, that's when, you know, my eyes kind of opened to it. Then I got introduced to Toby. Toby Nigwe.
Oh, I don't think I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's the dude from the SWAT. Everybody knows about the dude from the SWAT.
Yeah.
And he kept it. And as much as he's bar heavy and he does what he does, you can tell he's Christian if you're a Christian. If you're Christian. That's almost like it's certain people that's like, you know, they got that vibe. Like, for instance, Anthony Hamilton. Like, he hasn't come forth and said, I'm a Christian.
But you can hear it in his voice. Yeah.
I hear it in your songs. I hear it in that's just a little okay. All right. And but the point of all that is, you know, when God started withdrawing me from the CHH circle, around 2011, 2012, you know, right after I did the Underrate Me, I was starting to kind of go into my depression and all this other stuff because, you know, wife, gone, kids, you know, everything. And I thought I had a church circle and that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody started withdrawing. Wow. So that's what let me know that it's like, okay, what's the point of making Christianese songs basically for each other? We're not reaching lost people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're just making songs that we could perform in churches or to impress one another with. You know what I'm saying? We already got the like. Who's out there actually coming up with something creative enough where it's not overhandedly Christian, where it's like going to scare off an average listener, but at the same time is giving you something that's Christiocentric. Right. And then that's when God was like, you get where I'm going with this.
Right. Yeah. You see what I'm showing you? Yeah.
You know, it's like some people are called for clergy. Some people are called to be on them stages and preach. Some people are, and some people are called to be out there and kind of just show people a living example of what it is.
Right.
So that's why I felt like God had me withdraw from the whole thing. I mean, in talking to me, of course, you know I'm Christian, and of course you know but I'm very vocal about my faults. I'm very vocal about where I'm at, and I'm still doing what God has given me, and I'm in my own little universe about it, which is probably why I'm not as heard or I'm not as taken onto. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that a lot of my friends or people that do music and they still in the Christian hip hop arena is why I can't completely shake the stigma. Gotcha. That's why people are still, you're that Christian
you associated with it,
right? Because I'm still kicking it with your Sean C. Johnsons and kicking and making songs with, you know, Taylor Gray and la. So like, if I'm still rocking with them and they're, you know, 100% Christian rap, then you're gonna automatically say, hey, Redd Lettaz, one of them Christian rap guys, and da.
Right.
I feel like, especially with internet and everything, it's like now it's all about just finding a tribe. Right. Finding a tribe that I accept. And which is funny because this is how the church is supposed to be. The church is supposed to, you know, be accepting to who you are. Right. Not trying to change you because the Holy Spirit will start doing all that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The Holy Spirit is supposed to be like, you know what? I don't know if I like how you dress no more. Right. I'm going to change your taste. And now you don't, not somebody, you know what? You wearing them skinny jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta go buy me 4-5 more pair because
just because you told me I shouldn't.
Just because you told me I couldn't. So no. So I feel like that's how it is with my music per se. It's just I make it and it reaches. I wish it would reach more ears than it does. And I wish it would reach more ears than the Christian hip hop circle, because the only people that listen to me now are people that kind of know I'm floating around that genre, but they don't understand that I'm over here now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not over here cussing and blaspheming or nothing like that. But I'm also, it's like right now, I want to make music that I know when I die, if you were to listen to it afterwards, you get a full snapshot of who Courtney the person was.
Right.
You'd also get a full snapshot of the Christocentric thoughts and battles and peaks and valleys. And I think that's what the world needs.
When it comes to us as believers in general, let alone when we try to, walk in the gift that God has given us with, no matter what that gift is, for us, it has to be, it's music. So we want to walk in that particular way, but it's like, okay, well, we already know there's going to be some people that aren't going to accept it. So one thing that I've been told is that, okay, well, then that just means it's not for them.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I struggle. I don't want to say struggle, but I kind of fight with that every once in a while because I feel like, man, why aren't people supporting and this, that, and the other? It should always be your friends and your family first, that always support you, right? But they probably won't support you in that way because they just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And I have to be all right with that,
I want to also throw something in there. You said it may not be for them. To kind of add to that, it may not be for them now.
Right. Good point.
Like they don't know they thirsty.
Right.
But I got this glass of water, like
right. Like whenever you're ready for it.
No, I'm gonna sit this right here. I'm gonna sit this here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go handle my you're not thirsty, so but if you're ready,
right.
glass. I felt that way when I made Panthea.
Yeah.
I was like, this album's for me. Nobody's gonna want it. Nobody's gonna care.
Right.
Because this is deep, dark. This is just whatever. But my DMs disagreed with me because people DMing me crying, saying, yo, I've been through it. I went through a divorce. I wouldn't, but I still felt this way. And I struggled this way. So it's like, it may not be for you now. Like, okay. But you remember hating your parents' music?
Yeah. And well, I'll say not all, just the old rock and roll stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I got you.
But like you kind of rock with it now, though, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to hate listening to my parents' music. Like,
right.
This Ruth Vandross off my face, and now it's like, okay, too much.
Yeah.
I ain't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And real quick, I wanted to tell you. I can't lie, man. They were for the song 3, man. I wanna fall in love again. I was hoping it would be you. I was hoping is definitely my favorite song on that one, and
it's the longest song.
Yes, that's part of the reason why. Too, to be honest with you, because I'm into stuff like that. Like number one, it tells a story. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I said, the skits that you have in it and everything, it makes it enjoyable because those are different parts in it that people would not expect. You know, but normally what I do is I try to at least say, okay, well, this was probably one of my favorite lines of this, that, and the other. But I actually want to find out from you. On 143, what would you say was your favorite line, or at least one of your favorite lines from that song that made you feel like, yeah, this is definitely doing exactly what I aim to do?
Jeez. So I don't remember my lyrics. So to throw that out there is like, what did I say? I think one of the opening lines was I think I said, I'm looking for a fat from my Toby. I'm looking for a fat to my Toby. It's evident my Shaq needs a coat, B.
That was one of the ones that stuck out to me too. Yeah.
So, you know, if you're not, I'm not big into sports, but I do remember Shaq and Kobe team up.
Right.
But in order for me to it's evident my Shaq, my house needs a co. I need a person with me.
Yeah.
And then that's just me saying B like I'm from New York.
Right, yeah.
It's evident my Shaq needs a co. B.
Right. Yeah.
And then the whole, I'm looking for a fat to my Toby. Everybody knows how much Toby loves fat, and that's his wife, and that's his life, and whatever. Right. So I feel like, but even deeper than that, you can see how they're such a tag team and what they do.
Right.
What he does musically, what she does, and whatever. They're such a tag team. They're like the Missy and Timbaland, kind of concoction when it comes to what they do. I don't think that there'd be a Toby without a fat. I don't think there would be a fat out of Toby. So, like, it's my way of saying I'm looking for something, a love in that circle that's kind of like that. Gotcha. That kind of pulls from one another. And then the Shaq and Kobe line was just me being a rapper.
Right.
It's just me being, let me throw this little, I call it something they call landmine punches. It's like you'll step on it and be like, oh, I get it. Because Shaq, Kobe, Shaq, house, Kobe, cohabitate. And okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And then I said something about I've been flying solo so long. I think my homie might be Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got to be a Star Wars geek.
Exactly. To get that one.
But as in Han Solo. He's the pilot.
Right.
So I've been flying solo so long. I think my homie might be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Basically, I'm saying I must be Han Solo.
That's funny. I'll admit I didn't get that at all. Like I looked at it from like simplistic point of view. You've been flying solo, so I didn't even like reach on Han Solo at all. Okay.
Yeah, Han Solo was the pilot.
Yeah.
So like I'm basically saying I'm Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it so long. My boy must be Obi-Wan.
Right.
So that's the rapper part of me.
Right.
Came out, and that's what that means. So.
Indeed. Yeah. And it's a dope song, man, to be honest with you. I mean, and a lot of the stuff that I like hearing from you has been, I won't even say just a lot, because that kind of means that there's some that isn't. I feel like everything that you've done has been real.
My thing is, God gave you the gift.
Right.
Period. Until God takes the gift away, you have no business sitting on said gift. So even if I'm just releasing these little EPs here and there, and I'm still not getting quote unquote the acclaim or what I could get or whatever. I never took the actual ability away, so I shouldn't stop producing things.
Exactly.
Because I don't know who might get it. I remember hearing this story some years ago about this old school. Talk about like it was a tent revival. That's how you know it's old.
Yeah.
And they said there was like 3 guys that came to this tent revival, and there were no seats, but there was an usher that was there that was like adamant about getting the 3 young guys a seat.
Wow.
It was like, you know what? I'm gonna find you a chair somewhere.
Right.
And so he found the 3 young guys a seat 30 minutes into the whole thing.
Wow.
And one of the 3 actually went to the altar and got saved.
Wow.
That person was Billy Graham. That usher looking high and low for a seat created Billy Graham.
Right.
In a sense. You know what I'm saying?
In a sense, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't know that that's what he was doing. He was just being diligent about what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Being obedient.
Right. Just, okay, I'm finding you a seat. You gonna get a seat today. You know what I'm saying? Turned around, and then you got Billy Graham.
Right. Wow. Well, look, man, I really appreciate you being on here with me. It's been a long time coming for me, especially because I've fought on trying to do something like this for a while. You know what I mean? I've been wanting to. You know what I mean? And mainly because I want to be able to like dig into the minds of people sometimes, you know what I mean?
Right.
And mostly because of it's people that I admire and respect. So, you know, much love and respect to you on that, man. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate this.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, if there's anything else that you ever need from me, hit me up and let me know, man.
For sure. Now, this one's important. This one I'm gonna have to do.
All right, bro. No problem.
I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.